Travel with us on Jane's journey. She is one child helped by the network. Jane was out of school, as was her sibling. The father was out of work and the mother's income was not enough to help the family to survive. The network discussed how it could help Jane and others like her to get an opportunity to go to school. In partnership with Viva, the local network created learning spaces for children to undergo catch-up education that would help them to transition back to school. A community mentor from the network visited Jane and her family and urged the mother and father to allow Jane and her sibling to start attending a creative learning centre. Jane went on a journey of discovery. She learnt to read and she mastered maths. Jane's sibling is Jason. He had difficulties concentrating and with self-care and was given a place at a learning centre for children with special needs. He travelled there with his friends on a bus provided by the network. Meanwhile, Mum and Dad joined the savings group in their local village. This helped them to save and to invest in the mother's small business in the market. This flourished so much that the father was able to buy a tuk-tuk so that both of them could earn money. After 6 months in the learning space, Jane was ready to go to mainstream school. She did so well in her exams that she was able to continue to university and study. Today she is a pharmacist. What a journey she has been on. Not only that, but the network trained teachers in Jane's school and in other local schools to be better educators. Network staff have also supported members in rescuing children who were taken into the police station and returned them home so that justice was done. As for Jason, after a year in the Special Learning Centre, Jason was given a place at a catering school. Here he has loved to learn new skills that have allowed him to work with his mother in the market. We invite you to be a part of the journey of helping children like Jane and Jason to be safe, to thrive and to learn, so that they can live life in all its fullness.
Welcome everyone to our special Zoom event today. My name is Phil Green and I have the privilege of being the CEO of Viva. And I'm delighted that you're joining us today as we have this special session to celebrate all that's been achieved over the past decade for girls in Kampala. More than 10,000 girls have been impacted by the work of Crane and Viva that's been funded by the UK government over the past decade. And over the next hour, you'll get to find out about what that's looked like and what the impact has been. So I am delighted to hand over to Mim, who is part of the Viva team globally and has been leading this project on behalf of Viva for more than a decade now. So over to you, Mim.
Thank you, Phil. And I wish I could say it's good to see you all, but I can't quite on my screen, but you're very welcome. And this is going to be a real whistle-stop tour. How do we summarize 10 years, 11 years in 1 hour and allow time for talking and prayer? Well, we want to start by saying we believe that this is God's provision. It's been God's provision. He's been with us all the way. And we're just grateful to him, really, not just for the work that we've been able to do in the last 11 years, but for what that means for 10,923 girls, if we've counted correctly, which we believe we've done. So we're going to give you a whistle-stop tour, starting with a video that's actually made by the fund manager. So this is the official UK government video about what's been going on in the last 12 years. So off we go, Vicky.
We are going to start a race, and the first person to cross the finish line wins. But before we start, please follow the following instructions. If you have to collect water before you come to school, take a step back. If you also have to sweep and cook before you come to school, please take another step back. If you have to walk more than 1 hour to get to school, school. Take one step back. If you've ever felt unsafe on this long walk, take another step back. If you might drop out of school to get married to support your family, take another step back.
بس قحالنا تدارين كندس أزنا جلس عربي هاجر أو تناجيري بس إذا بدين درانان تمشتى تمارنا أقولين كيورو جنو يوبو بحكم تشيسي عشرة ستة تمشتى سرعة تماري تيسي أي بكابتشينا.
Because of girls' education challenge, I'm now in university and I role model in my community.
We are very proud that our logos are on the back of an official British government video, and we think that that will help us in the future. Becca, tell us very briefly about networking and why that's been important.
Okay, thank you, Mim. So one thing that has made our project stand out, apart from the others, and something that the fund manager and the external evaluator commented on, has been our networking model, which has meant we can have a bigger, longer lasting and louder impact. The beauty of the networking model means that we can work with local communities in the context specific, but also have a bigger, even national impact with the government and other stakeholders. So the CLC model, the catch-up learning centers, creative learning centers, has been based in each local community with the partner organizations, but being part of a network means the training, resources, child protection, and reflection and learning can be shared together, therefore leading to a bigger impact. And as Mim has mentioned, the over 10,000 girls who have been impacted, that's meant that we can have the sort of higher level oversight, but also be involved in local communities and families.
Thank you, Becca. So let's see what that looks like in a Lego version.
A journey of life, life in all its fullness. This is what Viva wants for children everywhere. Children who are safe, thriving, and learning. When children are safe, they will be free from abuse. They will feel safer, and the organisations that help them can keep more children safe. When children are thriving, their well-being will improve. Their relationship with carers will be better, and they will develop greater personal resilience. When children are learning, they will have improved learning outcomes and they will transition to higher levels of education. How do we help children to be safe, to thrive and to learn? Let us take you on a journey. First, we connect schools, organisations and churches together in a city to work together for the sake of keeping all children safe. We call this body a network. Second, we build capacity so people who work with children become better childcare workers, better teachers, and better parents. We train government workers, police and prosecution officers to know the best interest of the child. Third, the network builds collective action amongst the member organisations that work together to keep children safe. Joint initiatives are designed, coordinated and monitored so that local people can transform children's lives. Fourth, we create citywide influence by helping children and adults to work together to lobby for change across their cities.
Thank you. Anna Barker, you're going to give us a brief headline summary of what happened when we went to the House of Lords.
Yes, thank you, Mim. Yeah, we had an incredible evening celebrating the successes of this GEC programme. We were joined by the fund manager and the external evaluator, which we hear is extremely rare. It's not often that an external evaluator feels confident to speak well about a programme at an event. And one of the highlights that came out of that was the evaluator said that over 27 years of evaluating international development projects, only 3 stand out to him as one that has had a sustainable impact. And this is one of them. So that was huge. Another highlight was that he mentioned how pivotal the mentors had been. He said the local people in local communities, it was impossible to have done without Crane already having those members. So the work leading up to this project meant this project could be so successful and have such a strong impact. I think we might try and share with you some other quotes in the chat, because there are 4 pages of really impressive quotes, and it was a fantastic evening to celebrate this brilliant programme.
Thank you, Anna. Well, what was it built on? And the 6 pillars, really, some of which you've seen in the Lego, but we're going to show you some real videos of that. 6 things that we think, and the evaluator has said has worked really well. And what you'll see in a run of videos and people interspersing with stories: the creative learning centres, quality improvement system, safeguarding, teacher training, savings groups, and inclusive education for children with disabilities. They're the 6 things that have particularly stood out. So let's go to the creative learning centres first.
14% of children of official primary school age are out of school in Uganda. Girls from marginalized backgrounds are more likely to miss or drop out of school. Here is a remedy for this challenge. Crane's Creative Learning Centers, established in partnership with Viva, offer individualized learning for all girls aged 8 to 18 years. For 11 years now, the CLC initiative has supported over 3,500 girls and boys who were out of school to return to learning and eventually school. The first 22 creative learning centers in the districts of Kampala, Mukono, Nakaseke, Lugazi, and Wakiso are now recording graduates from universities, teacher training colleges, and vocational institutions. It is possible to return to learn through a creative learning center.
That was the original concept that we started with 11 years ago. And at the time, everybody said it wouldn't work. It has worked through a lot of hard work and discipline and structure and training. And one of the challenges we now have is to see how we can make that something that can work in every school. It's not really rocket science. It's just providing children with the very necessary support that they need when they're struggling in school. And one update on that, it says 3,500 children were helped. The last count that we did a couple of weeks ago, over 5,000 children went through a creative learning centre. And only 2% or 3% have actually dropped out subsequently. So it's an incredible success for which we are very grateful. Let's go to pillar 2 and have a dip into QIS.
Have schools got better? Yes. Allow us to take you on a journey of how the Viva Quality Improvement System has inspired low-resource schools to become safe and exciting places for children to learn. Crane and Viva have worked together to embed Viva Quality Improvement Systems deep into the operations of these organizations. Using a combination of intensive training and one-on-one mentoring, network staff have coached school leaders in people care, financial accountability, governance, planning, safeguarding, and well-being.
Participating in the QIS package was such a game changer. The positive changes I witnessed in my school were incredible, from increased parent involvement to a safer and more conducive learning environment.
If you want to improve the quality of education, contact Viva and Crane.
Quality QIS, or the Quality Improvement System, has impacted hundreds and thousands of children in countries across the world for over nearly 20 years now that it's been implemented with Viva partners globally. It's an effective capacity building tool that organisers use to help build systems and organisational structures. And it's designed to be used with churches, schools and organisations working with children. It introduces international quality standards and principles, which are also explored from a biblical perspective in 6 areas of central importance for working with children: child safeguarding, child wellbeing, project planning and design, financial accountability, governance, and staff care. And then through a cycle of assessment, training and mentoring, which enables schools and organisations to work towards improved standards in each of those 6 areas. The goal of QIS is that through improved practices and policies, churches and organisations become safer spaces for children, and there are structures in place of accountability, good management and sustainability. So one school in the GEC project saw improved management and pupil grades went up, so that enrolment went up by 100%. Systems that have been put in place means that the school continues to thrive. And the school, which was run by the Anglican Church, is viewed as a model school by the government to such an extent that the government is now building a secondary school in the same community, and they've asked the Anglican Church to run it.
Thank you, Jane. We're going to pillar 3 and safeguarding, a short video, and then Faith will give us a very brief addition.
The best investment ever for children, safeguarding. Children have the best chance in life if they grow up in a safe environment with effective care. Crane prioritizes the safety of marginalized children. Crane, in partnership with Viva and the Directorate of Public Prosecutions in Uganda, has established over 30 child-friendly spaces. Crane, in partnership with the DPP, has trained prosecutors in child psychology. Our collaborative efforts have led to a significant increase in prosecution rates, ensuring that those who harm children are held accountable.
We do train and work with the justice system, and most of those are through the police, the prosecutors, the judges. And so we've been in connection with those 3 groups of people and others to train them in order to look after children better. And as the video tells you, the conviction rates have increased from 50 to 80 due to some of the basic psychology skills we've given the police, the prosecutors, and the judges, and more people are being convicted of sexual abuse, which is a good thing for us. We introduced anatomical dolls, which also helped them to describe without actually saying words that the judge accepts to. So that's what we've done with the justice system. We continue to network with them because cases keep increasing and there is some corruption, but they help us so that cases are going through.
Thank you, Faith. Let's go to pillar 4, teacher training.
The majority of children in Uganda experienced education through chalk and talk. Crane knew that was not a creative way of generating a passion for learning, and so 11 years ago, Crane partnered with Viva and began to train almost 100 teachers in an exciting, dynamic, creative way of teaching. The training also emphasized how to provide a safe space for learning and how to make learning appropriate for every child. The continuous training has transformed them into model teachers and advocates for quality education for all. The impact of these teachers has been felt in communities across Uganda and has helped over 7,000 girls to get back into school and tens of thousands of boys and girls to receive quality education. Our teachers have inspired almost 50 girls who were out of school to go back to school and also train as professional teachers.
Back to Faith to tell us a story about the teachers. Thank you, Faith.
The teachers. We've had different trainings for the teachers, and one of the teachers called Elizabeth came and told me, Auntie Faith, our training has been so good. I applied for a master's in school and gave them our model of teaching, and they asked me to present it, and they were very amazed about that. So our model of teaching has been good, and different teachers are using it in different schools, and even the government officials and school or university officials like the model. So we're pushing that it is used in different ways with the government.
Thank you. And I want to acknowledge Ruth Moyler, who's on the call, who has been a great help to us in designing some of that teacher training. There's many others as well, but Ruth, you're welcome. Next, number 5 is the savings groups.
Imagine over 1,500 parents coming together, pooling their resources and paying school fees for girls who might have not gone to school. 42 groups of parents have been supported by Crane to establish registered saving groups. What have these efforts changed? Parents have learned the discipline of saving, and this has kept their children in school. Once saving, they can access low-interest business loans, and this helps improve the standards of living for their families and the community. It's amazing to see the displays of saving not only keeps children in school, but also helps strengthen family and community bond.
Faith, tell us about Ushindi.
Ushindi is a child, a refugee child from Congo. We came to one of the town centers that is like a slum area, and she was not in school. One of our mentors got her and put her in a COC, and she was able to go through and finished her O-levels and L-levels. She even joined university and is now graduated. But what helped her with some of that, because we didn't pay all her fees, her mother was taught how to save with a group of young mothers and other mothers around that community. And she was able to save. But because we saw her doing well, we gave her an IGA, a fridge or a freezer where she could put drinks for customers. She was able to use that. She was able to use that fridge to earn money and pay for Ushindi. But she said she has graduated and she has a bigger shop because of that good start that she got. So Ushindi is now looking for a job, but she has finished school, which we celebrate with her.
Thank you. Number 6 is inclusive education. Our little video, and then Becca will summarize.
Malaika's life has changed simply because she has access to quality education that suits her and her skills. Malaika was helped to get into education by Crane. They provided transport for her and hundreds of other children with disabilities. In the last 3 years, this number of children has been able to access education that meets those individual needs. These achievements are a result of the partnerships that Crane has established between the government and civil society. The networking between these entities has led to the creation of a tool that helps to identify the learning needs of each child. We invite you to join the journey of supporting children with disabilities.
So often children in Uganda, and I'm sure other places, children who have disabilities can miss out on education because it's a lot harder to access. And the Girls Education Challenge, Crane has been able to address some of those needs. A big achievement for us has been the Learning Needs Identification tool, as shown in that video, which helps teachers and other professionals assess the needs of a child and gain a diagnosis, but also the EAS Centre, which is Education Assessment and Resource Centre, which has been a centre where children can go and get assessment. That has led to children getting the help that they need, maybe those who have not been officially diagnosed with a disability, but also in a general sense, just raising awareness with teachers, with children with disabilities to know their rights, and with parents to know the value of education for children with disabilities, and to help them get back to school alongside other children.
Thank you, Becca. Well, it's always encouraging to know that we've helped thousands of children. We're going to see one story, and one of the things that we have to rest with is we don't know the long-term impacts. We've seen many, but we're believing for years and decades to come is that this work is going to achieve a great deal. And here is one very ambitious girl, and after this Paul will just summarize something about those long-term impacts and the lessons that we've learnt before we then think about praying together. Thank you.
Okay, when I become the president of Uganda. My mother is a single mother with 2 girls, 1 boy. She raised us and sells matoke in Mukono market.
My stepdad passed away, and he was taking good care of us. So when he passed away, my mother was chased out of the house, and it was really hard.
Life was hard, and I dreamt of Dorcas getting a better job, but I couldn't afford the school fees.
My headmaster called her, and she was like, is Dorcas not going to come back to school? She was like, no, he's not going to come back to school. We are planning something else.
She told me Dorcas wasn't going to go for high school, for A-level. When Crane intervened to support these girls, I was so happy.
I was so happy when Dorcas got the opportunity to go back to school. I was so grateful when they supported her school fees.
They released that burden from her because she couldn't make it, and I couldn't be here where I am right now. I could be in the market selling matoke with her right now. Really, I want to be a businesswoman in accounting, marketing, and finance. I would like to help my family, my siblings, and my mother. Schools should be free to everyone because everyone needs education. There is no any other gift that you can give someone more than education. So if you're not educated, you're left behind. Okay, when I become the president of Uganda, I'll make the schools free to everyone. I can make schools free to everyone. Yes.
Well, the long-term impact and outcomes of all this work on the girl, I'll start at the community level. In the families, we've started seeing a change in attitude towards girls' education, where people now believe that actually girls need to be going to school. Then Crane has this group of people called mentors who are attached either to a local church or to one of their member partners, whose role was to identify the children, the girls who were not in school, and reconnect them to the whole system of being of a creative learning center and finally the school. They acted as sort of like the counselors for the children. Now, after the end of the program, those mentors have become the new GEC officers in the communities, in the villages, and they've started working with them to help many other girls go to school. So that for me is very iconic, and to remain to stay long after all of us have died, that they have a new group of people whose role is to ensure that girls go to school. So that's a major change. They've talked about the learning needs identification tool. What people need to know is that that has become a policy of the government of Uganda. This tool has been integrated in the national policies for education in Uganda. And so from henceforth, children will be assessed at a very, very early age as soon as they enter school, so they can help know and identify their learning needs. The Viva QIS training modules that have been run were introduced to the inspectors of schools, who then said would want to make this part of our system for monitoring schools. It's now been integrated in the education system at the Inspectorate of Schools in those regions to help ensure that schools are managed better. So the school management tool is now being adopted from the QIS piece of work. I think that's going to leave a hallmark on the work that we've done with the schools. And then the work with the justice, law and order sector in Uganda, which involved working with judges, working with the police, working with the magistrates to ensure safety for children. And somebody has just talked about the child-friendly rooms and all that stuff. I think that's a new stamp in trying to dispense justice for children, and particularly to reduce the lead time to the hearing of cases for children. So in the long term, those outcomes would be key. Did I talk about some of the lessons we've learned over the period? And
45 seconds.
Okay. Some key lessons: innovation. Innovation has been a key thing for Crane. They've learned how to advocate, to educate children. We think we have now a magical bullet for educating children. I like the thing that we've done before, knowing when to push back, particularly when you're working with the big donors who have the money, to say, no, we can't do it, we'd rather move the other direction. I think for me, those have been key lessons. And I think I'll stop there and pass over to you.
Thank you. Jane is going to share a couple of prayer requests for what this means for Viva, and Faith will share for Crane. We'll pop those in the chat, and then we're going to shoot off to some breakout rooms.
Great. So building on the lessons and framework of particularly the Creative Learning Centre model in the GEC project, we were able to develop the learning space model with the input of Crane. And that's now, learning spaces are now currently being implemented by 9 other networks, 6 networks in Latin America and 3 networks in Asia, with plans to expand those numbers. So learning spaces were originally designed to help children and young people to engage with learning, which had been disrupted by COVID, but they've been so successful that the networks are really keen to continue to offer catch-up education for children. And like the Creative Learning Centres, they can take place in community centres, church buildings, or other community spaces, and they're open out of school hours. And then learning mentors work with small groups of children and offer psychosocial and learning support. They're operating differently in different contexts. For example, in Latin America, they're one component of the Comprehensive Learning and Training Centres, or CAFEs, which provide non-formal learning support, but also include other strategies that allow families to engage with their children and to continue to support their children and meet their basic needs. In Nepal, as well as the mentors working alongside children to help them grow in confidence and learning, children also receive mentoring on topics such as sanitation, self-confidence and friendships, and they're provided with uniforms, bags and stationery, which can often be significant barriers to education. So leaders of learning spaces, as they're being rolled out globally, they're reporting that they're seeing amazing personal growth in children who attend. And this support often impacts their academic grades. Many have seen a dramatic increase in children's ability to graduate to the next class. And teachers at mainstream schools are commenting that they can really see the value in learning spaces in equipping children to be able to succeed in school. So our prayer really is as learning spaces are rolled out globally through the networks, that the dedication and commitment of the teachers and mentors in learning spaces is really inspirational. So please pray for these amazing men and women who are pouring their lives out for children in their locations and often offering their time, often on a voluntary basis. Please pray for the children attending learning spaces, that as they become more confident in learning and are enabled to attend school, that opportunities would open up for them, and so their true potential can be released as they have access to education. And also, please pray that others would be inspired by the work of learning spaces and provide some of the financial support that is needed to keep the learning spaces open. And I'll put those in the chat.
Thank you, Jane. Faith, give us a couple of prayer requests, please.
We do want to thank God for that funding the UK Aid gave us for the last 11 years. And we continue to pray that we'll get another opportunity for such big funding, because it has done such a great job within our country. So our government should be grateful as well. We pray for new big opportunities, as we've said. We pray for good health and good morale as restructuring has happened in our staff because that big funding ended. And we pray that the remaining staff can continue working hard to make sure that children are safe, thriving, and learning. We have a Street Connected event on Friday, where we are advocating for the government to work with us as NGOs to make sure that children are rescued well, that there is safeguarding in place, and that they are not brutalized or violence is put upon them. So we hope that that continues. But as Crane, we continue to seek funding, and we pray that that funding can come through and the proposals will go through as we work every day to make sure that children are kept safe. Thank you.
We've been looking to sort of document all of the different resources that we have been making. I have just been able to help play a part in that. So we have different things under organizational development and content curriculum. monitoring progress, holistic well-being, family well-being, teacher capacity building. We've got tons of things we're developing. Athletics and mathletics, there's a new word for us. And Vicky, you could just share the next screen, please. We are putting them all on a Crane website. That is kind of an overview of one of the documents. That's the teacher professional development training overview. We've got 6 modules of teacher training we're writing up. And then the next slide, please, Vicky. Thank you so much. We're putting them all on the Crane website, and then also, of course, through Viva as well. The ones that are applicable to the Viva family will also be available. But if you want to, you can use that contact to show you're interested in getting more resources. Thank you. It is, there's a website being developed, which will be a learning resource website, and it's not quite ready yet. It's in the final stages of maintenance, but if you contact us there, we'll be able to connect you to some of those things, or contact us at Viva, and we'll also be able to share what is available to share. Thank you so much.